Susan is asking, let's see, Susan's asking the difference between how multifamily properties produce and single family properties produce. I mean, this would be generalizing. Obviously, every property is different, but with a multifamily property, we would expect the expenses to go down. The reason why we would, likely reasons why I feel that the expenses would go down with a multifamily property is it's kind of expensive to get a contractor to your property to begin with. And it's definitely expensive to get a contractor to the property the first time. Once the contractor's been there and the contractor is familiar with the parking and access, how he or she is going to get into the property, then the price tends to go a little bit down. And if the contractor is already in the property, anyways, because that's what cost is getting the contractor to show up, to drive all the way across town and to walk in the door. Once the contractor's there, he's there, and it's not a big deal for him to take care of Unit A and also Unit B. But also, you have one roof. You don't have multiple roofs. You don't have multiple systems. You know, you don't have multiple walls, etc., etc. So we would expect the prices of the expenses to go down. Interesting enough, the rents also go up at a multifamily. So if all things were equal, we had two different units, one of which is a single family home, and it's the same size, same quality as the same unit in a multifamily, then that would also, then a multifamily would rent for a little bit more, again, generally speaking. And then also they tend to be vacant a little bit less of the time. You know, I don't really know what creates that dynamic, but other than the fact that you actually have the existing tenants in the property helping you to find folks. People will come over to visit them, and they'll happen to mention that a property is available. Now, the downsides to multifamily, and right now it's multifamily probably sound pretty good to you. The downsides would be liquidity. They're just really difficult to sell. And they're so difficult to sell that I think people feel that multifamily properties are not going to appreciate the same way that a single family would. So the general thought is that a single family property is going to appreciate, whereas a multifamily property not as much. That's not true. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, the property is going to appreciate, and it's going to appreciate the same rate that a single family is going to appreciate. You know, it's just finding a buyer is going to be much more difficult. So there's only X number of folks looking for multifamily properties, and they're typically investors. And that's why I think also the sense is that you're not getting the appreciation is that investors want a deal. So they're not going to overpay you for the property. You know, a young couple looking to move comes and looks at your home, and it has all these wonderful little features, French doors, and things that they just must have. They're willing to go into their pocket to pay to get these items. Whereas in, you know, multifamily investor is really looking at the numbers. So they're not going to overpay you for the property. And then, of course, it's really difficult to find that investor. So there's only, you know, for every, gosh, I don't even know, for every probably, you know, 3,000, you know, single family buyers that are looking for a home to live in, there probably is one investor looking. So if you really need to sell that property and you really want to sell it, or if another investment comes and it's time to move on, you're not going to be able to quickly sell it. But as far as the appreciation goes, I don't understand why people feel multifamily properties don't appreciate. They do. There just would be of a lower value. Meaning, so if you actually had a multifamily property that was 2,000 square foot, you probably would have more appreciation or more value with two properties that were single family homes that were each 1,000 square foot. So those two properties would be easier to sell and thus would have more value. But the appreciation is still the same. You still bought your multifamily property for what you bought it for, and it has still appreciated. Nothing has really changed that, and it's appreciated probably at the same exact pace that with very little deviation from the multifamily market. It's just not coming into value as much because you don't have a buyer that's willing to pay as much. All right, I hope that helps.